Stanley Jeffs. I'm the founder and the CEO of the Sustainability Collaborative. Sustainability Collaborative was founded a few years ago with the goal to integrate sustainability into how we live, learn, and work. The current mindset that got us to where we are is not going to be the mindset that's going to get us to where we want to go. I think sustainability means different things to different people, and I think we have an opportunity to really define what that is. And it's beyond the conservation, preservation thinking. We talked about the human existence. Unless we drive that, change in the mindset, we're going to continue to go on a path that we are on, which is unsustainable. We just hit the 7 billion population mark, and it's going to go to 9 billion in 2050. And by 2050, we have to double our, food production. And the world, the planet is made out of 70% water, but only 2% is, potable. In addition to that, every year millions of people die because not having access to clean water. And obviously, we're not going to solve the world's problem amongst ourselves. But I think we can slowly connect the dots within the sectors of our community, in our global society, to one by one perhaps start the dialogue.
What is the relationship of, I'll put it this way, the self to nature, the self to each other, and the self to self? So if you look at that as the building blocks of education, my question then comes out, what do schools need to become if we are to nurture a sustainable future for our children?
I think of education sort of as the incubator of our cultures. And if we could get a dialogue going across continents where we're all talking about sustainability in the same way, we're all infusing the same values, because if they're talking about it differently in other places, we're not going to be on the same page. And I think it'd be wonderful for us to start building business connections, but education connection. We should have every continent represented, I think, long term on this, so that we're all marching to the same drummer.
How do we integrate sustainability thinking in education? And out of that was a LinkedIn group. So we all said, let's connect and let's start talking about some of the challenges and opportunities. And it began with perhaps 150, 200 members, and now it's grown to 650. And I'm very pleased to share with you that these 650 members, they reside all over the world, and they're in all different sectors of our global society.
We have to acknowledge the fact that the solution for education isn't education how we look at it now. It's going to be cyber education. It's going to be self-motivated learning that we can't expect to affect the learning necessary to impose sustainability in the same way that we've taught them in the past, because it's not the same world. And if we don't acknowledge that, then we're going to be approaching the new problem with the old solution, and it's not going to work.
Key here is that we're looking at the process, cradle to grave, whatever you want to call it, but that it has to make sense on all fronts. Make sure that the company is profitable, make sure the person is profitable. So, you know, I think what we want to make sure to stress is that this is not just blindly going into conservation or environmental, it is really looking at a more substantial process.
Industry can take the lead, because the nature of academia is that we debate things and we say, well, it's academic, i.e. we don't take decisions.
I'm active in Mercer County and on the Workforce Investment Board, and I am appalled at what they call success in their thinking and planning of what employment looks like within the future, not just in New Jersey, but the thinking of people who are really planning and funding and executing the jobs and our professional capabilities in the future.
If a business person or a business startup could go along and say, how could I create jobs for my community which are inculcated in universal sustainability? Show me how to do it. Convince me, show me, give me an idea that I can run with. If you were a business person, you were going to go, okay, I don't know much about sustainability. I know that my company's just gone belly up. I don't want to emigrate. What do I do? I have a very good friend who's in construction. He builds roads. They've stopped building roads in Ireland. At the minute, he's in New Zealand looking at emigrating, either between New Zealand and Australia. Where can he go build roads?
Our plan right now, that from an economic point of view, if you have a one-to-one relationship between self and nature, you're going to be sustainable. The problem is we're at 1.5.
How is it possible that there is such an increase of type 2 diabetes, and what can we do in order to avoid, in the end, those people needing those medicines, needing those medical diagnostic devices? And if we do that, if we start focusing on that, then we may make those huge steps to reduce our eco footprint. So that actually needs more than just the supply chain of an organization such as J&J or an NHS. That needs the whole society, and that's universal sustainability as I see it. So I think the concept is brilliant, and I think indeed maybe that's our distinctive value.
If there are no choices for manufacturers but to include hazardous material in their manufacturing process, then we aren't really going to have the opportunity to change things. If we don't start taking a look at the end result and the fate of the things that we make.
The percentage of CO2 dumped into the environment increased 6% over the last 2 years. Blew away all of the, the guesstimations of what scientists were saying, and it has actually put us over a tipping point now.
How do we touch people such that they then understand the consequences around this notion? And I said, well, it's a quality of life for the individual. Let's talk about start with the individual, and then let's start with the family, and then let's start with the community, and then let's start with the 21st century society.
Living in the future, tell you how I know somebody told me 12 years ago. Like we're in our, I'm in my parents' future. So this notion of future is kind of where we're stalling. We want to act now. the best environment at all.
Founding fathers created this country at a very negative view of human nature, and that's why it has survived. They didn't think we're all angels, and to borrow James Madison's term.
Right.
It was the reverse of that.
Yeah.
And I think we have to be realistic that people won't do anything unless they see how it's going to directly impact them. It's really self-interest.
South Brunswick, just about 10 miles south of here, we worked on a zero waste campaign. Okay, so this is the concept. We're going to help the school board rewrite all of their contracts to get the school into zero waste. But the students had to develop the program.
The collaborative could then move into the community side, and the term that we use is civic engagement. You know, the collaborative, it's really like an externship in a way, to a certain degree, is we could not only build the same externships or whatever we want to call them with business, but also with community organizations.
We in education, yeah, we do not understand our connection to the community. And I'm saying that generally, because obviously what you're doing, and I'm sure there's a lot of interesting pilots, but as a system, we are not connected the same way many times businesses are not connected. When you think about the billions, and I use the word billions of dollars that have been spent on infusing technology into our schools, what's changed? Nothing.
The externship is really our pilot to start building a curriculum.
An organization, an industry, or whatever type of business posing a specific problem, students can, apply to that specific problem, set up a working team and work together with that industry or business actually to resolve the issue or to come up with a solution for the problem.
Sustain Next within the collaborative is our entity for bringing together thought leaders on the issue of sustainability and universal sustainability.
I'm seeing this as creating really new networks and new patterns of relationships among people. And youth, by and large, understands how to use the social networking, and that the outcome of this becomes a social networking that continues the process.
Our cultural perceptions of sustainability, I think, are radically different. And I like that term, enlightened self-interest, that we're not going to depend upon people doing this out of the kindness of their heart. We really realize that we have to make an intellectual case to them that they can subscribe to on the basis of what's in it for me.
My son is he was a very, very good student, as I've named before, and a very good basketball player. So I used to be a very good basketball player as well. And one time he beat me so severely to the hoop that I just turned and got the ball as it came through the basket, and I gave it to him, and I said, "The game is now yours, son." Well, the game is now yours.
Oh, thanks.